A new part of my team in data engineering is around DataOps. We don't want to have to develop the same data pipeline over again across different functions, and we want to get as much repeat use of that code as possible.
It's easy enough to use Talend as a tool to extract a table from a database into a file. You simply create a job, have a component that reads the database table and writes to a file. But if you start doing that over hundreds of tables in hundreds of databases, you end up with an unmanageable environment in terms of the numbers of jobs you have to deploy. What we're doing now is creating generic Talend jobs which work off configuration. So we have one generic job that knows how to extract data from any Oracle database and the configuration to tell it which database and which tables to extract. This allows us to deploy these Talend jobs in Docker containers and deploy those Docker containers on serverless infrastructure like AWS Fargate, which makes it ultimately scalable. As a DataOps team, we are now able, through automation, to bring the time down from anything between half a day to a day to create a Talend project and set up all of its ancillary environments ready for use, down to about 5 minutes from when it's approved as a project. And that helps the developers get on with their work much faster. And it also takes loads off the administrators because they don't have to run around creating Talend projects manually, possibly making mistakes and having to redo them. And it gives us a much more control over how we create our projects and how the projects are stored on our source control systems. As it stands, we have over 120 different Talend projects. The more reusable you can make your Talend projects and configuration-driven you can make them, the fewer Talend projects you end up with. We've got over 300 registered Talend developers in the system. A lot of our development community sits in offshore sites. Communication is always a challenge, and having the automation processes which guide them through certain steps makes that a lot faster, more efficient way of training new developers to come up with better ways of doing things.
Now, what that means is we can start to get to a point where we give the end user more self-service capability. So not having to come to a team every time to provision some AWS infrastructure or kick off a data flow. This is something that they can request themselves. And it's something that we're trying to do around automating the automation. So where we've automated infrastructure setup or essentially automated data flows, so there's no more manual intervention with the data, but actually then automating that again to give that use back to the end user.